So instead of doing live streams for WandaVision, we're going to do videos because why not? So WandaVision is the newest project that came from the MCU. This is our first show that is being presented on Disney Plus, and it just dropped this week, and the first 2 episodes dropped. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on these episodes. I also want to know what you guys thought of these 2 episodes. Let me know down below in the comments section as usual, and let's just kind of jump into it. So I'm going to start with episode 1, and then we're going to work our way to episode 2. So this show introduces this early days of the sitcom, kind of your I Love Lucy and Honeymooners and other kind of sitcoms like that. You get Wanda Maximoff and Vision. Now, it's very interesting the way the show brings you into it because there's not really a lot of setup on how these characters got here. We know that this was going to be the most ambitious and most unique thing that the MCU has ever put to screen, and I can verify that, yeah, it's very different. I would never have guessed that they would have gone this route. But you get Wanda, you get Vision. The first episode is basically centered around this date that they have marked on a calendar, and they're trying to figure out what the date means. Wanda believes it's an anniversary, and then Vision, while he goes to work, he finds out that, oh yeah, his boss and his wife are coming to dinner. So they host a dinner party. There's a lot of comedy within this episode. It's really shot in front of a studio audience live, and there are some really funny gags that they do. You're kind of relaxed watching this show because you're wondering what is happening, what's going on, but they don't really ever give you some type of background into the actual threat of what this could possibly be until pretty much episode 2. But this episode is very light. You can tell Wanda and Vision, they don't know what they're doing there either because they get asked questions at this dinner party about, like, where'd you guys live before this? Why did you move here? You know, when are you guys gonna have kids? And they just kind of sit there and they're just thinking to themselves, yeah, where were we? What happened? And it's almost like they're being a part of this simulation, kind of like the Truman Show, and they don't really understand that all eyes are on them. And you find that out towards the end of the episode. And there's a scene where Mr. Hart, Vision's boss, he's choking. And so Vision is looking back at Wanda, and it's very intense because you could tell that both of them want to help him, but the problem is they don't want to show off who they actually are. And so Wanda eventually tells him, Vision, you need to help him. So he helps him. He phases through his throat, pulls out, I think it was a strawberry, and saves his boss's life. But you'd see that the characters don't really react to this in a normal way. If you see that happen, there's got to be some type of snap, a realization of what you're seeing is unhuman. And so you have to kind of figure out or wonder if, like, these characters are all put here in the simulation to be a part of kind of what is going on, this giant conspiracy. And it's really interesting. And the episode ends with a little bit of a brief introduction into the possible threat as you see the sword logo. And you're very fixated on that because it's very interesting what they decide to do and how they're trying to approach the situation. And you just know that someone is watching this show as it plays out. And that's the end of episode 1. I was waiting for a post-credit scene. There was no post-credit scene. My overall thoughts was it was fun. It was very weird, and I didn't know how to react because I was like, this is in the MCU, but it doesn't feel like that at all until like the last 20 seconds. And that's really bizarre, but like I still really enjoyed it. I don't know if I could say I loved it though, yet at least. Then we get into episode 2. Episode 2, the gag or the theme of this episode is the fact that Wanda and Vision are going to be having this magical talent performance for the talent show for the kids, which is very weird. Kind of like cult-like language that the characters around them use. We get our first look at Maria Rambeau as an adult who has a different name. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. Catherine Hahn, who plays Agnes, really, really solid, really good casting choice. And I think there's going to be a lot more to that character moving forward. And I think I'll probably have like some type of like predictions video at some point in time, potentially talking about what her character could mean. But Also at the same time, like I don't want to speculate too much because I just kind of want to enjoy the show and like enjoy the process of the show. Episode 2 sees these characters and it aged a bit, like it actually kind of jumps in like a decade or even 2 decades later in sitcoms, because you get different gags in this. You get this scene where Vision, he ends up swallowing gum, and so it stops all the gears in his body and he acts drunk. And Paul Bettany does a phenomenal job acting in this scene. There are some really, really laugh out loud moments with Vision that are very different from the Vision that we know. And that is why there's a lot of theories and speculation, and even I theorize and speculate that, well, I know this, it's not Vision, it's something else, it's potentially somebody else. And I use that term loosely as somebody, because is it really a person? No. But there's something very odd about this character and about this situation and the simulation that they're in. Another thing is Wanda, she starts seeing certain things happening. There's this one interesting shot of her looking at these rose bushes that she has, what looks like a drone or like even a toy helicopter that is actually the color red, as it is the only thing that has color in it in the entire shot. Which, number one, I thought that was beautiful. I love the composition there. But number two, it's very interesting because that is symbolism for the sword logo again that we saw in episode 1. As well, you also see a scene where the antagonist of this episode, who is this very bratty, very proper woman that's a part of this neighborhood, who you have to be in with, because if you're in with her, then you can do anything that you want essentially. And she ends up getting a cut on her hand, and you see the blood, the actual red on her hands, which I think also symbolizes Wanda's powers in a way, because you see the red that comes out of her hands when she usually uses her powers, except for in this show you don't see that. There's a lot of symbolism in that way, and how they use these colors to effectively display the message that they're showing on screen. So I thought that was all really cool that they were doing that. I really, really liked it. The magic performance was a lot of fun. You see Vision using his powers, levitating in the air, phasing through other things. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's happening, and Wanda has to try to pull it off like it's not magic, which I also think that is in there for a specific reason, in terms of a theory that I have about Wanda and why she is trying to protect this Vision and why she's trying to basically hide her identity. You see these layers, you see the characters trying to hide who they are, and also at the same time also trying to be who they are, but there's not that great balance of either or, because they kind of clash with one another. At the end of this episode, it's revealed that Wanda's pregnant, and obviously we know she's having twins because we've seen it in the trailers, and also it stands by the lore of the comics as well as the lore of the character of Scarlet Witch. Then things get really weird. You see this scene where this person, this man in a beekeeper's outfit, comes out of a sewer grate, and he looks at Wanda and Vision, and Wanda says no, and she changes the ending. A lot of interesting stuff in that, because she must be more aware of this experiment that is happening towards her than she let on at first. And so there's a lot to speculate just on that alone, and it's really, really interesting. And then it ends with everything going to color as we move forward in time to the 70s era of sitcoms. I really like that. I like that they're evolving the love of sitcoms, the appropriate decades. Obviously you had like the early 40s, 50s, and then you move to the 60s, and now we're getting into the 70s. And I hope that they do that until the 2000s, but I don't know if they will. I feel like this show is going to start divulging into a lot more heavy action, and we're going to get more plot as to what is actually happening and who the actual villain is. And that's going to be very interesting. These are great setup episodes for what the show is going to be. We still have quite a bit left of this show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do next. I really enjoyed these first 2 episodes, especially episode 1. I thought was really, really funny and just really nice because it was something different from the MCU. Episode 2, we kind of start getting more and more into, even though it's unique and ambitious, it's still familiar territory with some of the things that we don't have revealed unto us yet. and some of the things that we can theorize about these characters and what's happening, that's all really cool. So I really did enjoy these first 2 episodes. I can't say that I love it yet because I think that there are still a lot of interesting things that need to come into fruition. I don't like the fact that we have no setup at all to any of this. I get that there's a reason for it because it's basically kind of like we're trying to uncover the setup, but I wish that there was a little bit just leaning into this that would at least kind of connect the dots for me a little bit more, as it's not like we're just kind of thrown into something and it's like we're literally watching the simulation and we're a part of it. But I think it has a lot of potential to be incredible. First 2 episodes have been really, really good. I'm really looking forward to next week's. I can't say that I completely love it, but I am very fascinated with what is to come. There's a lot to unpack in just these first 2 episodes, and it is definitely the most ambitious and unique thing Marvel's ever put out. That goes without saying, really, because I mean that they've never done anything like this, and I don't really need to hammer on that point anymore. So I respect Marvel for doing something different and trying something new because they need to. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on these first 2 episodes of WandaVision. What are your guys' thoughts? As usual, I want to know because that's what's most important. Not what I think, but what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys drop a like down below. Hit that thumbs up button. Also, consider subscribing to the channel for more content just like this, as I'll be talking WandaVision every single week. I'll probably just put out these videos on Saturday because I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Like, I want to give people time to actually watch it because I will be talking about spoilers in all these videos. I don't know how I cannot talk about it without giving spoilers. And so I want to at least give you guys at least 24 hours to actually sit down and watch WandaVision. I think that is very fair for you guys and also for me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.